Hi, this is Vicki with My Paper Connection, and I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in the United States. I just wanted to come to you today and show you a few of the really fun cards that I made recently. I had a friend who saw one of the pages that I was featuring the Night Before Christmas Suite, and I had that listed on my Facebook page, and she said, "Can you make me some Christmas cards? I need about 5 of them." And so since she liked what she saw on the page, I decided to go with that theme. I didn't do them all exactly the same, but I'm going to show you what I did. So let me put that to the side. I used the Pine Wood Planks embossing folder here, and then the Subtles 3D embossing folder here. I used the stamp set and the blends for the stockings and just put a little bow there, or actually a little knot. And I used the puff paint. Isn't that cute? I love it. And that's paper from the Night Before Christmas. This one, I just kind of envisioned a fireplace. I kind of wish I'd made the hearth go out a little bit farther, but I used the pine wood planks for this, and then I used the brick and mortar embossing folder for the fireplace, and then again I used puff paint. Isn't that fun? And I covered the entire front of the page with the paper from Night Before Christmas because to me it kind of looked like wallpaper. Okay, I came from the days of the 70s where you wallpapered every room, right? This is actually a piece of paper from the Night Before Christmas Designer Series paper. I also again covered the entire front, and then I cut out with silver the silver paper, 'Tis the Season, with using my die cut, which is a part of it, and then I just put a little bit of ribbon and a little bit of paper and used the May the Magic of Christmas Ricci this year. I still need to put something on the inside of that one. Now this one I used the Memories and More, the Memories Night Before Christmas Memories and More card pack. There's so many fun different small pieces and large pieces, and this is actually one of the larger pieces that I cut down to fit a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch card, and then I just took one of each of these and just kind of slanted them. But what really makes it is the puff paint. That just really takes it up a notch, and then I put some of the curly ribbon behind it. And the last one is this one, and this is the one we're going to do today with a small modification. So without further ado, let's get started playing. As you can see, I used this card as my inspiration. I got a little crazy with the glitter. I don't think I'm going to do that on the next card, but anyway, I just wanted to show you how I was inspired, and I'm going to use the black instead of the silver paper. But just going to show you how I was inspired to make this, and we're going to get started with it now. What I did, I used the Sponge Brayer, and that was a fairly new technique to me. I'd never really done that before. I've used the sponge dauber and different things like that. I've used the round sponge, but I've never used the brayer before. So I'm going to use these 3 colors for my background. And I think I had a little bit more dark than what the catalog had, but I'm okay with that. I actually rather liked it. What I'm going to do is, I know it's dry, so I'm not going to worry about it, but you do it like you would a roller, like a paint roller. And then I don't want to, what I want to do is start off on the side and then just kind of go into it like this. And I may be doing it differently than other people, but it's okay. It worked for me, so I might still have a little bit of that darker blue on there. I want that Coastal Cabana to get picked up. There, now I'm seeing it. I'm seeing it more in there right now. There we go. And I think what I'll do, since that came out so dark on the top, I think I'll make, on this part, I think I'll make that my top, and since it's coming out lighter, I'll make this the bottom, because I want to have a little bit more of a lighter look down at the bottom. Yeah, that's what I'll do. So note to self, use a clean sponge. But look how easy that is to just paint that right on. Okay, now I'm going to use the Pretty Peacock, and I'm not going to go down deep into the other areas. And you always start with your lightest to your darkest first. So, y'all, I can't stand things to be a mess. So we'll just kind of go right in here along the edges like that. We want our color to build. And I'm trying to leave a little bit of that lighter color right here on this side. I really should have, yeah, there we go. We'll spread that out a little bit. This is a new technique to me, so if it's not perfect, please pardon. Okay, now I'm going to go with the Night of Navy. Don't really want to see the white of the piece of paper coming through. So you have to go over that a little bit. Okay, the next thing I want to do is I want to splatter some white over it to make it look like stars. I was not real happy with what I did here. I actually sprayed water on it and it left water spots, which was kind of cool, but it just wasn't, it didn't give me the effect of stars. So what I'm going to do is to put a little bit of the Whisper White ink onto a block, and then I'm going to take my aqua painter, aqua pen, however you want to call it. And that might be a little bit too wet. Let's see. Dry that off a little bit. And then I'm just going to flick it. Like that. Okay, we're going to let that dry a minute. And what we're going to do is take a piece of paper, and it's just a scrap piece of paper, and I'm going to create that snowbank. So I'm just going to just go along and just kind of wing it. Like that, and it'll go right there. So, oops, it's too short. No, my paper's too long. I know what I did. I used the wrong paper. So let me trim that down real quick. And I'm probably going to end up putting a little bit of puff paint. Since Stampin' Up! Came out with the shimmery effects and the eye stamping glitter and the puff paint, I have been putting it on everything. It's so fun. I feel like a kid again. So fun. Alrighty. Okay, so now the next thing, and see, it's a good thing I'm going to put snow in there because I just got ink on it. That's actually why I did that. So now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do the trees. So I'm going to bring in some old olive and bring in the trees here. I'm just going to stamp 2 sets of them. Then I'm going to cut them out. And I'm going to put puff paint on them. So I'm not going to have you watch me cut it out, but the way you do it basically is to just go around like this, and you turn your paper like that. Okay, so I'm just going to cut this out. I'll do it off camera, and then I'll be back. Okay, so I have my trees all cut out, and the last thing I'm going to do for stamping is to stamp my sentiment on the inside and then the little tag on the outside. For my sentiment on the inside, I'm using Greatest Part of Christmas. This is a host stamp set. So you can only purchase this, or you can only receive this if you host a party of $150 or more, or if you purchase $150 or more, you can purchase this with your stamping rewards. So I'm going to use Real Red and just stamp this on the inside. I like to get a good test drive on it just to make sure that I'm going to do it evenly. There we go. And then I'm going to bring in Love Santa, and I'm going to do that on this little piece here. Okay, that's all of my stamping done. Now I'm just going to go to my die cutting machine, and I'm going to cut this out using the little tag that comes with the die set for the Holly Jolly Christmas. I'll be right back. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we are going to apply our puff paint, and we're going to put it on the trees and on the mountains as well. So you do have to shake this up real well. Unlike the shimmery effects, this needs to be shaken. And it is a little watery, I have found. So I have better success with it when I hold it up like this and just go across. I can get better control than if I just put the nozzle down and just go for it. And on these trees, I'm just going to do one section at a time. Okay, it's going to be loud for a second, but I'm not going to make you watch all of it, okay? Isn't that fun how that puffs up? So fun. Okay, I'll go ahead and do the rest of it, and that way you don't have to watch me. Okay, I wanted to show you a little something, and I left it like this on purpose. If you can see right here, this little area, it got a little bit too much of it on there because it's easy to happen. But if you just take your scissors, you can come up under here like this and you can just trim it like that. It's pretty easy to do, and then you can just kind of groom it a little bit, and it works well, just like that. And you can also go back over it if you need to. Okay, now the next thing I'm going to do is to go ahead and put these in place, because that way I'll know where I need to put the puff paint on here. So just go ahead and put dimensionals on this. Okay, I'm using the mini dimensionals on these, and I'm just kind of overlapping it slightly right in here. Okay, so what I did basically was I put them in place, and then I didn't like where I put them, so I picked them up and I actually ended up tearing the paper. So it's a good thing we're going to puff paint that, right? So I'm just going to go along, and I'm okay with it coming out liberally this way. I don't like to do it like that whenever I'm doing it on a small section, but I'm okay if it comes out liberally here. And I'm just going to go all around it, just like that. And I won't make you watch it puff, although it is kind of satisfying. And if you see that you didn't get as much, and I'm sorry, my cord only reaches so far, but if you see that you didn't get as much as you wanted, then just place some more on it. It was a little bit too much like lines anyway, so we're just going to get all willy-nilly with it. I bet you that's going to puff up. Okay, so I have my puff paint pretty much the way I want it to be. And one word of caution: when you get puff paint on your paper or anywhere else, just understand it's basically glue that just puffs up. So it's going to stick, so be careful with that. I wanted to show you this die. Look at that. How cool is that? It's got so much detail to it. And so the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to bring in my Santa on his sleigh, and I'm just going to use mini dimensionals on the back of this, and we're going to pop that up going across the sky there. I glued the silver one on, and I just wasn't real happy with the way it looked. I used the fine tip glue, which I had decided if I glued it on this time I was going to use, basically just put some Tombow on a silicone pad and then just go like that. But I think I do want it to actually look like it's just popping up in the sky, so that's what I'm going to do. Alright, so I've got all the backings off, and I'm just going to make him look like he's going across the sky here. Santa and his sleigh. Isn't that pretty? Okay, so I cut a small piece of green paper that came from the Night Before Christmas DSP, and I just put it right in there. It's just a little scrap. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I've cut a piece of the baker's twine, and I'm going to thread it through the holes right here. I just put them together so I don't have to thread them twice. Didn't want to have to resist the urge to do like my mom would do when she was threading a needle. Or you put the tip of the thread in your mouth and wet it just a little bit so that it can go through. I'm not going to do that on camera. Not cool. Alright, so I got myself a nice little bow, and then I'm just going to, I'm layering it somewhat. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on the back of this, and I'm going to put it like that. Okay, then I'm going to take some dimensionals on the back, and I'm using the larger ones for this. I'm overlapping it just to reinforce that. And I'm just going to place this right here, just like that. Okay, then I'll just trim, trim this off. And then we'll start to assemble our card. All right, so I have I didn't tell you before, but this is 3 3/4 by 5, and I'm layering it on top. Now see, that's where the that puff paint, I had to change my paper because the puff paint got on it, and it kind of stuck a little bit. Okay, squirrel. Just funny thing, my husband knows I have severe issues with ADD, and he said that whenever I see something that catches my attention and I get off topic, that I should have a little animated squirrel go flying across the screen. Problem is, I would probably have squirrels just flying everywhere because I mean, it's a real trip editing these videos. It is a real trip. If I showed you everything that is on these videos whenever I make them, first of all, the video would be probably 35 minutes long, and your head would spin because you would get an insight into my scary head and just how quick my mind goes. See, I'm already off course. So that was 3 3/4 by 5, and this is Night of Navy, and it is 5 1/4, let's see, 4 inches by 5 1/4. But never fear, all of the dimensions will be listed in my blog, and I would like you to be sure and check that out so you can create this card as well. And then the inside I used Whisper White, and this is 4 by 5 1/4 as well. Okay. And the outside of the card is Pretty Peacock. Okay. And this sentiment is, I think I told you, is from Greatest Part of Christmas. Now the last thing I'm going to do is to place some snowflakes. And I'm going to use my Take Your Pick tool to pick up my snowflakes using the putty. And I'm just going to use a little bit of glue. And just put a little dot here and there. And then just pop it down. Okay, then I think I'll do another snowflake right here. Okay, I've got some other little star type things that I'm going to put around. And grab them with my Take Your Pick, just plop them in place. I think I put a little bit too much of the glue on there, but I'm going to not put anything on top of it and let it dry. So, oops. Okay, there you go. Yeah, there's way too much glue there. But it will dry and it will be pretty. That's probably more like it, just a little tad. There, see, that gives you the idea of what it really will look like. I'm going to put another snowflake right over here. That's too big too, but I probably should have used my fine tip glue pen, but it is what it is. And it will dry beautifully. That's a beautiful card, though. I'm very, very happy with it. Whoever designs the cards for our catalog does such an amazing job. And I encourage you to take a look in the catalog. And whenever you get a catalog, take a look in it and see what they have going on there. And because they have professional people that are designing these, and it just is a good idea to just see what they're doing. So I like this card much better than this one. Because I had some spots that I wanted to cover when I used the water, I put the crystals on it, and it's just a little too much. But this one, I really am really happy with it. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope that you will try to recreate this card yourself now that you know how. And if you will, just click the button and subscribe and ring the bell, and you'll get notice whenever future videos come out. And again, all of the supplies, all of the measurements and everything are listed in my blog. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you have a great day. Bye.